Hello, welcome to Keys Broken Boats. I'm back on Eric at the Avon Navigation Trust Yard, and my project for today is to change these engine mountings because they're shot. So first things first, I'm going to take a measurement of how high the engine is off the old ones. We'll make a note of it. And that is 75 mil. I'm going to write that down there. And I'll set that at that height off that engine mounting. When we put it back together, hopefully it shouldn't be far out, but I will check the alignment before it goes out again. So now I'm just going to start unbolting. So, bolt on the bottom, nut on the bottom, bolt on the top. Bolt. I know these are a bit tired because we had it running and started moving the other day, and the engine was actually sliding forwards and backwards. So obviously that's no good, especially on a tug, because all the forwards and backwards motion is transmitted to the boat through these mountings. Obviously the prop shaft slides in that bearing, so when the propeller pushes the boat forward, the propeller actually pushes the engine forward, and these mountings are what pushes the boat forward. So we've got to change these because they're just jumping around everywhere. Not very good. So I'm going to get on and unbolt it, and then we'll go from there. These are some massive long bolts they put in here. That's the bolt at the foot. Bolt out the adjuster peg. A spring washer and a flat washer. I'm going to do this, get all of them to that state, and then I can start to try and lift the engine up and go from there. Look at that, really oily in there. And under there, I've got a bottle jack under the back of the engine, bit of wood in the bilge, bit of wood under the engine. I'm going to just jack that engine up a little bit, just so I can slide those mountings out the back, and then I'm going to sort out trying to get some new ones in. Okay then, plan A of just undoing it all and sliding it out the side hasn't worked. I've got to get the engine a lot higher, obviously, to clear this bolt. So what we're going to do is split this drive joint. Now there's the gland where the prop shaft goes through, or at the back of the boat. I've whacked that full of grease to stop it from leaking. I've then undone the ringer bolts both sides, and it's just a case of getting my bar in it and trying to ease it apart gently for it to come free like that. Now I can jack the engine up and we'll be all right. Okay, carry on. With that drive joint split, I can just slide that engine mounting out. And that's it. That's one of the back ones out. Let's see if we can get the other one out. Okay, because of the nature of what Eric does for a living, we've opted for some more heavy dutier engine mounts, which is involved a little bit of engineering. So what we've done is, you can see here, we've taken out the wood and we've built some steel shims. They bolt straight down to the hull of the boat, and then the engine mounter sits in there. You can adjust the alignment by that big nut under there. So I've got two on the front. Now I've just got to get the two on the back. Okay, I've got all these engine mountings bolted down with my spacer plates, which I've made. 3 in each engine mounting, bringing it up 25mm. Obviously the old engine mounters were mounted on top of this bit of wood. So now I've got to align this dry flange. I've already lined it up that way by adjusting these slots here on the engine mountings, and I've tightened those down so that is that way. All right, now it's up and down. If you look at it there, you can see it's out. So I'm going to pick it up on these rear engine mountings on that bottom nut until that's sort of in line, and then we'll be away. New drive joint going in it then. Okay, just a quick recap. This is how the engine mounters were bolted down. This piece of wood here used to run all the way along. That engine mounting was bolted down to that bit of wood and into the engine. And obviously you can see what I've replaced it with is this lot bigger, heavier, meatier engine mounting. And what I've done is I've made up 3 shims there, which space this up 25mm, which then gives me enough to have some adjustment to be able to line everything up. So I cut that out, and so I've split the centre joint, which is just here on the back of the gearbox, unbolt this, unbolted the top of this, jack the engine and gearbox right up so I could slide that out, cut the timber off here, make my shims, slide it all back together, then lower it back down on it, bolting it all down, checking the alignment left and right, because I've got little slots in the top of this engine mounting, so I've been able to move it left and right to line it up that way. And then obviously my adjustment, which is under here, to pick the back of the engine up and down to get my horizontal alignment. Okay, I'm going to carry on now and I'll show you in a bit. Okay, I just need to pick the back of this engine up a little bit more, just to get that in. So I'm going to do that by just turning the nut that's on the top of the engine mounting, but underneath the engine, just a fraction to pick it up. There's one there, and there's one there. There's one there, and that picks the engine up just fractionally. And with that picked up, that bolt slips in there, lovely. Check it on the others, all the way around. And that slips in nice and smoothly on all those bolts. So that tells me that that's roughly in line good enough to put it back together anyway. And then we'll do the final check once it's all bolted together. Okay, here I've got my new drive joint, which I'm going to be fitting in there. So I'm going to start off by sliding that prop shaft back. Get pry bar. And just gently slide that prop shaft back to there. And that'll give me all the room I need now to get that joint in there. See this lip here? That fits in there. See that little recess there? That fits in there. So it goes in that way round. See that red bolt there? That red bolt has got a little datum tag on the end of it, and that's where you take your measurement at 90 degrees around here to check the alignment once it's all in. So that sits in there. Slide all my bolts in. Get all my nuts back on. Ooh, didn't want to do that, did I? That murky in the bottom there, I can't actually see that. That's where having a nice clean bilge is an advantage. If you ever drop anything in it, you can see it straight away. This one's actually got a couple of inches of water in it at the moment. There we are, retrieved the nut from the deep. There we go, I'm going to drop it again in a minute. Start. It's amazing because I don't want to drop it. Fiddling around trying to start it. There we go, it's away. Now, pull that up onto there. That should line up quite comfortably. And that'll all pull together like that. So it's all butted up nicely. So the joint is full in there, no gaps. And then get the bolts on that side, nuts on that side, sorry. These are nylock nuts so that it doesn't, so the vibration doesn't make, they don't come loose with the engine vibration. That's actually looking really nice and in line, which is great. Two left. I'm going to go around these with a couple of 19mm spanners and just tighten them up. They're shape-proof washers, so they're nylock nuts. So that's why you have to wind them all the way home with a spanner. And what that nylock does is that nylon just pinches on the thread when it's all tightened up. which stops any vibration rattling the bolts loose. So once these are tight, they shouldn't come loose. But it is always worth keeping an eye on them, because them coming loose is normally the reason for them being damaged. Also, if it's not in line properly, it can cause excessive wear. Obviously, if that wasn't in line, it's sort of pinching at an angle and flexing this, and it's making it do that, which will work harden it, weaken it, crack it, make it fall to bits, all those things that drive joints do. So the alignment is really important. So I'm going to go around these now, nip them all up, and then on when I get to it, this red bolt here, there's a little datum peg on the outside of the bolt, and that's the measurement you take there. You measure it here, 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 and underneath. They all want to be the same, and as long as that measurement's the same, that basically means that your drive joint is in line. Okay, we'll get onto that in a minute. I'm just going to tighten it up. When you're tightening these up, your initial tightening, it's always good to do opposites. So I'll tighten this one, spin it over, tighten the one that's opposite it, and tighten this one, spin it over, tighten the one that's opposite. Because what that does is as it pulls together, it pulls it together squarely. Doesn't sort of like pinch one side first or the other, and it keeps it all nice and square. Okay, with the drive joint in place, you can check the alignment using this red bolt with the datum peg on it. Now I've got a $1mm Allen key, and that slides nicely in between that bolt and the gearbox flange. So if I turn that 90 degrees, I can then slide it in, and that fits. If I slide it underneath 90 degrees, can't really see it, but I can slide it in there nicely, and that goes through nice and smooth. Bring it round another 90 degrees so it's there facing you, and again, that's nice. That is a nice fit in there, and I actually can't turn that Allen key, which says to me that that's pretty bang on. Now, you're allowed a 1/4 mil tolerance on that measurement all the way around, and I'm well within that. It's a nice fit, that's nicely in line, and that's how you check it with all your joints in place. Now I know that that is pretty much bang on. I'm really happy with the way that job's gone. So now what I'm going to do is tighten down. If I can get to show you. Tighten down all these engine mounting bolts. And once I've tightened it down, I'll knock some of that swarf out of the way. But once I've tightened it down, I'll then check my joint alignment once more. I'll check the joint alignment once more, and then we'll be away. It'll be ready to have a kick in the guts and try it and see if my engine mounting modification has been successful. Catch you on the flip side. Okay, that's everything dragged down. Get my Allen key. Yeah. Yeah. The bottom one's a little bit by feel, but yeah. And here. Yeah. There we have it. Job's a sausage. Perfect. Really happy with that. That's gone. Job is a sausage. Now all I got to do is tidy up. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, like, subscribe, share, all those things that help YouTube channels survive in life. Thank you very much. Cheerio.
Okay, river test.